Hello there. I'm glad to be back with you again. We're going to be talking today still from inserts from Individualism, the philosophy of resolve. Today we're going to be talking about letting go. Still in line with those series of discussions and sessions that we have discussed already about getting out and staying out, social and emotional development once you exit out from one world and going into the next world. When we were in the situations that we found ourselves in, that we inadvertently allowed ourselves to be in, we were in a created world that some of us created on our own, and others have no other choice but to come and assimilate and to adapt ourselves to the way of living and the lifestyle that is conducive for survival in that particular subculture, in that particular situation that we found ourselves in, that we have made a choice to become our part of. You know, I reviewed clippings from the movie that Tom Hanks starred in years ago. Years ago, he starred in Castaway. And he found himself on a deserted island. And those of you who have not seen that movie, I encourage you to go as soon as you can and see that movie. It's an excellent description of being institutionalized. And it takes away the stipulation. If that movie doesn't take away the negative stipulation from being institutionalized, nothing else can or will. Because Tom Hanks was on that island. I made that scene where he had the toothache and he took the ice skating shoe and tried to use it as a dental tool to get that painful toothache out of him. It was excruciating pain, no doubt. In my mind, I could feel his toothache. I had a toothache before. If you ever had a toothache, you know exactly how a toothache feels, and you know exactly how the next person that has a bad toothache feel. I mean, there's a time when you have a toothache. Hey, if you had a gun, you probably would blow your head off. It's best to keep those people who suffer from terrible toothaches and can't get to the dentist and to the emergency room, keep them away from guns, please. Because it will make you want to blow your head off. Literally. That's how painful and excruciating things can be when you find yourself in painful situations, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. They can be just as painful as a toothache. And Tom Hanks in that movie, he finally got that thing out. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you. See it for yourself. If you was ever on a deserted island, and we have been on deserted islands in our lives, not per se literally an island out in the middle of the Atlantic or the Pacific, but we have been in our own deserted island where we have been surrounded by the fears, our greatest fears, and our greatest hang-ups and habits that has encaged us and locked us in a situation that we could not find ourselves to get out of. And those were the times where we felt like giving up. But for some reason, the resilience of individuality and individualism allowed us to go the extra mile. And that's what I'm glad of today. And then Tom Hanks, when he was finally getting out of the situation, he devised the raft. Because there's going to be a certain point in your life where you feel like, hey, swim, sink, or die. I'm getting off of this deserted island. I'm making me a raft, and I'm going all out. I've been on it long enough. Seemed like to me he could have thought about that raft after a year or after 2 years of being on that island. But he waited a long years went by before he decided to build his own. He was built of many things out there, like Robinson Crusoe and Woody inventions, and even in other stories, the Jeff story. You know, you learn how to survive when you're trapped on that deserted island in your life. You learn how to survive, and I admire men and women who survived in their situation on that deserted island in a habit. Can't get out of it. Entrapped in a relationship that's got them bound, but they get out of it. And the relationship doesn't have to be with flesh and blood. When you get your substance, you develop a relationship with that substance. When you get stuck in your particular situation and your circumstances, you develop a relationship with it. And a lot of times you can't get out. You know, your hurt habits and hang-ups keep you longer than you were willing to stay. It costs you more than you actually was willing to pay. And it's just a little bit worse than you realized from the very beginning. And you really did not want to stay. So you know what? When Tom Hanks finally got out there, he went out there and he found a soccer ball there on that island. And he made his little smiley face and person, you know, he personified a human being. So somebody to keep him company, he made him a person. Then he called a little person that he made with the volleyball, he called it Wilson. And you know, Wilson, he got out there on that raft, and Wilson gets off the raft some kind of way and began to float away from Tom Hanks and his character he was playing in the movie. And he gets off, you know, Tom Hanks gets off the raft, gets inside the water, but how many can you visualize it without having seen the movie? Wilson being a soccer ball head, and he's just being drifted away. Tom Hanks was struggling to get Wilson. He said, Wilson, I'm sorry. You know, if you have any heart at all, this was a stellar performance by Tom Hanks. Very excellent actor, one of my favorite actors. Very excellent actor, and he portrayed the heart that he had placed in a soccer ball head because of his situation. There's plenty of us. If we did not create a soccer ball head Wilson in our own lives, we would have not gotten off that island. I tell you what, sometimes it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go, man. I tell you. You know what? Your hurts and your habits and your hang-ups can be very unbeneficial, and you know it. But it's so hard to let them go. You know why? Because a lot of times we enjoy them. We enjoy what's hurting us. Is that crazy? We enjoying what hurt us. We very seldom and very less likely are we to just dislodge ourselves immediately when we discover that our habits and our hurts and our hang-ups are really unbeneficial for us. We just don't let go of them. We hang on for them for a while, hoping that later on it will treat you all right, but it never does. Your problems, your hurt habits and hang-ups never have any good intentions for you. It's never going to treat you right. It's never going to wake up with pleasant words to tell you, so stop trying. You know, and after a while, you will. Sometimes you come to the realization of that sooner or later. But some of us, we still hang on. And when you go into your situation, you develop your little Wilson. You develop and you create that crutch That's something that can hang on to help you keep your sanity. A lot of people use religion. A lot of people use faith, which is good and is constructive. At least it's not, dooming their whole life, not less that religious dogma and philosophy is another hurt habit and hang up, because that's what sometimes it can be. It make you Jim Jones and drink poison and follow somebody to the death and grave, and then you got a problem with that, religion. And most of these are cults and stuff. It don't have to be a blatant, right out, clear occult. It could be the little church down the street, or the synagogue or this mosque. It could be that in them down the street, and you wouldn't even realize it's just another way to drink the poison and to kill yourself because the situation you're in. But you don't have to go through it. Your hurt habits and hang up and be bound and stuck there, but you can get out. Tom Hanks developed that Wilson. It was constructive, but it was mighty odd. When you look at it, a grown man just embracing a volleyball head and loving it as if it was a person. A lot of people, you can't knock it until you've been there. Yeah, it looks mighty stupid. Wilson, hey, that's a volleyball head. But hey, Wilson met the world. I mean, I after watching the movie for a while on that scene, I felt like Wilson was a real person. Hey, that's how good that man played that part. I thought Wilson was actually a person after a while. I said, my God, Wilson. I wanted him to get Wilson back. I hated that Wilson was drifting away. Please, Wilson, come back for Tom Hanks. He's going to die out there without you. But letting go, he had to let go. If he was going to go on and to be rescued and to get out of being deserted on the island, he had to first get out of that island, off that island, and venture out and head out. If he didn't, he would have been found by the ship that was passing by. He had first had to get out to be found. And you must realize that if you ever going to